blind hem is once again a technique in the Sewing Advisor. Technique number 5 is a blind hem, and it takes us to the stitch that we need. So sometimes people don't remember which stitch to use. It's 26 in the A2 menu of utility stitches, but I always use the Sewing Advisor because it takes me right there. Then tell it the fabric you're working on. I'm going to say that we're working on a woven heavy. You'll notice the stitch got a little bit wider when I moved it from the medium weight to the thicker weight. So for folding for a blind hem, you're going to first fold up and press. That would be the final hem of your skirt or pants. And then what we're going to do is fold back. We need to expose just that little tiny edge. And it also tells us to put foot D on. So we'll find our foot D, blind hem foot. So the blind hem foot is actually a foot with 2 toes, a wider one and a narrow one, plus they're at different heights. That is what gives you a nice consistent pressure when you're sewing half on 3 layers and half on a single layer. When you put this in, you're going to line up the fold of your fabric right down the middle of the foot, right where the 2 feet are coming together. Once I lower my presser foot down, I'll push it again, so if I need to, I can move it a little bit closer. Once I take a few stitches, I'm going to peek and see, does the needle swing far enough to the left to catch the fold? What I want to do is kind of keep the fold hugged up against that inside of the right toe, and that will really make sure you get a nice consistent stitch all the way down. Now you're going to really see if I've done this right, because we've got pink thread on cream fabric. So this is what it's going to look on the side you sewed, and this is what it's going to look like on the front. Now yes, you do see bigger stitches. Now they're really not that big, because if I had matching thread, this would blend in completely. So the idea is that you get them to be consistent in size. That's when you know you've done it right. Now, if you're going to do something on lighter weight fabric, so we're going to fold that fabric the same way, fold it down. This would be where you would press that in for the final seam. Get that good and pressed, and then fold it back. Now this is a lighter weight fabric. You'll notice that when we go to fabric A, this technique technically kind of goes away. It kind of beeps at you and says, but it will still stitch. It does narrow down that stitch. It really, fabric B, which is a little heavier, is what it's set up for. I would also use for lighter weight fabrics is a finer needle. The finer the needle, the smaller the bite that it's going to be able to take into this fold. It's also been narrowed from when we did the wider fabric or thicker fabric. So I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to go ahead and take a few stitches, kind of watch right down in there, make sure I'm getting the fabric to have the needle bite into that little tiny fold. Yes. The foot really makes this technique doable. So that's what it'll look on the front or on the back, and that's what it'll look like on the front. I'm happy with that, and it sure beats doing it by hand.